Greetings, guys, girls, non-binary pals, and welcome back to another video. Today, I wanted to do something that I actually usually do on my second channel. And by usually, I mean one time I did on my second channel. And that is looking through the Am I the Asshole subreddit. Now, the reason I'm doing that here today instead of on the second channel is that I have decided to completely repurpose my second channel. I'm going to be doing fun videos because I just want to have fun sometimes. I just want to have fun. I need a break. I need a break from this. I love doing this, but it is emotionally very heavy. A lot of you ask me to do more fun, positive videos, but it just doesn't work here. People don't watch them. It completely ruins me and the algorithm. But I want to do more fun videos. So if you want to see fun videos from me, you can go subscribe to my second channel, which is Kiwi with a Q. I just did spin a wheel to like pick my makeup, which is why it's a little bit darker than normal. So spoiler alert, my face. But if you're interested in like fun, like Jenna Marbles-esque type videos, then go give that a subscribe over there. I'm gonna try upload every week. I would love to see you. I would love to have fun with you and just sit down and hang out. Yeah, that means some of my old second channel video ideas are gonna be over here and we're just gonna have to deal with it, okay? And that is today, Am I the Asshole? Which admittedly does fit on this channel, but I don't know. I don't know why I did it on the second channel. I just did. We all know and love Am I the Asshole? We get them on Twitter. We get them on TikTok. We get them everywhere. You're always watching a gameplay with the robot voice saying one of these, or you see people on Twitter repost them. I see a lot of these posts without ever opening Reddit. But today we're opening Reddit. But also I took some of these from Twitter. Some of these are from Ask Aubrey on Twitter because she posts just a lot of just batshit insane, terrible ones of these. And so I went and stole some from her. So thank you, Aubrey. But really quickly, before I do get into it, I would like to take a moment to say thank you to today's patron of the day, Sage. I appreciate you and your support so much. Thank you so much for joining. I hope that you enjoyed this video. And if anyone else would like to become a patron, you go to patreon.com/savvycat. I appreciate it. So yeah, it starts at as little as £1 a month. So thank you. While I am in the middle of self-promoting, please remember to subscribe if you haven't already. Over 60% of you actually aren't subscribed, but are regular viewers. So if you think that you're subscribed, you might not be. So please don't forget to hit subscribe. It means a lot. It helps me out a lot. So yeah, 60% of you are regular viewers but aren't subscribed. If you are one of them, please do. Yeah, anyway, let's get into the fun, if that's the word we want to use for it. Am I the asshole for telling my brother it's pathetic that he can't do the basics of what his wife did? Automatically, I'm going with no. I love my sister-in-law and brother. They have 2 kids and my sister-in-law Rachel was kinda a stay-at-home mom. She worked from home part-time but also took care of the kids and all the chores. I was over multiple times and the house was spotless. Really, I thought she was just extra cleaning when she had guests, but no. When I had my kids, she showed me her schedule. She would wake up at 5 for meal prepping for the whole day. Like, she never stopped, and a lot of her tips helped me with my own home. I have so much admiration for people who are able to keep on top of that. Working part-time and looking after a household, like waking up at 5 to make meals, and then doing all the that's impressive. Oh my God. Now, my brother lost his job and it was decided that Rachel would go back to work full-time and he would stay at home. The kids are in kindergarten and 1st grade, so he has this on easy mode. I've been over to help sometimes since he just sucks at it. The house is always a mess, the kids are usually late to school, he asked me to drive them after the school talk to him, and he doesn't cook. It's just sad. I'm sorry. Wait, hold up. Hit pause for a second. So, the kid's auntie, the father's sister, has been asked to drive them to school because the father isn't able to get them to school on time, to the point that the school called them to say it was a problem. Like, bro, you aren't working. You don't have a job and you can't get your kids to school on time? Like, actually unacceptable. Like, actually unacceptable. Also, your kids aren't home, yet the house is a mess and there's no food cooked. What are you doing with your day? He got in a huge argument with his wife since dinner wasn't done and she had to make it. He was ranting about how it's unfair and that he's trying. I told him it's pathetic he can't do the basic of what his wife did. He has 8 hours free and he can't keep the house clean. Exactly. I told him she will divorce him if he doesn't stop being lazy and figure it out. He left after calling me a jerk and my mom is now on me for what I said. No, I agree. Absolutely. Like, Your wife has been doing all of this for years, and before she also had to look after the kids while she was at home. Like, no one is even saying you have to be up to the same level as her, you know? Like, maybe she is like a perfectionist and everything has to be absolutely immaculate, and she likes it being completely spotless. It doesn't have to be immaculate like that, but it should be like tidy at the very least. And also, like, food should be cooked. And your kids should be getting to school on time. Like, at the very least, you do have all day. You don't even need to spend the whole day doing those things. If you're doing it every day, if you're spending even an hour of a day tidying and cleaning, you'll keep on top of it. And like, cooking isn't that hard, bro. Especially if it's just dinner and you have all day to do it. Like, get it together. Updates. I love my sister-in-law. My mom apologized to me. Rachel sent my mom what the kitchen and house looks like, the messages from the school, and apparently a text argument about how she shouldn't be doing this. She gave him 2 options: get his shit together or get out. I learned a lot more about the situation and learned he wasn't packing the kids' lunches the past 2 days. I think he just broke his marriage. He wasn't even packing the kids' lunches? What was he doing? This man just doesn't know how to be a father. And that became very prevalent as soon as he had to actually be a father. My good Lord, you can't even feed your kids. I hope she leaves. And like, you know, she deserves better. She was doing better on her own, honestly. She would be better off on her own because she was already effectively on her own. She had this fucking infuriating man in the way. Whereas at least if she's on her own with the kids, she is responsible for that, you know? There's no one to be ruining that for her. She's not like making up for someone else's lack of ability to be a good parent. It is just her responsibility, which is a lot and that's stressful, but I feel like it's better, you know? So no, you aren't the asshole for calling your brother pathetic. Your brother is the asshole for not knowing how to be a parent despite being one for several years. Am I the asshole for telling my son he can't stay with me when I found out why his wife kicked him out? My daughter-in-law is pregnant with my first grandchild. She is suffering from placenta previa. She is on bed rest and it would be dangerous for her to have sex. So my asshole son decided that he should cheat. I'm obsessed with the wording of that. I love my fucking asshole of a son decided to cheat on his girlfriend because she couldn't have sex. Like, that is the worst thing you can do. And I agree. So true. You fucking say it, man. She found out and kicked him out of the house. He came to stay with us because she was having crazy pregnancy hormones. I can't believe he said crazy pregnancy hormones too. That's so insensitive. Every time he called her, they would fight. After a couple of days, we told him to go see if she calmed down. Her mom is staying with them, so we weren't worried about her. My wife called her to check in and found out the truth. I was very upset when he got home from work. I told him he needed to get out of my house. He wasn't someone I wanted to be associated with at the moment, and it would be best if he wasn't near me. Totally fair. Good for you, man. Like, absolutely. Absolutely. A vile, horrible thing to do. Cheating on your pregnant wife because she is, like, in pain and can't have sex. That is a horrible thing to do, and I'm absolutely, entirely on your side here. My wife tried to say that I was being too hard on him. Absolutely not. That I should just give them a chance to work things out. I can't even look at him. I don't want such a stupid boy in my house. My wife and I are still fighting about it, but I am willing to die on this hill. Good for you, man. The fact that this man is willing to sacrifice his marriage because of how little he agrees with this is so admirable. Like, yeah, absolutely. If there is a hill to die on, it is this one. And if your wife is on his side, I don't get it. She was pregnant once too. I'm sure that if you did that to her, she would not have forgiven you because she absolutely shouldn't, you know? Like, I find that sometimes parents are way too forgiving of their kids because they're their kids. Like, put yourself in that position. If you, in your pregnancy, were suffering from that and it meant that you couldn't have sex, so your husband went and cheated on you, that's a horrible thing to do, and I don't think I would never recover from that, and I'm sure that she wouldn't have either, but because it's her son, it's like, no, I'm gonna forgive it. No, and you're lucky to have a man who is so opposed to that, you know, because a lot of men are gross and do that. It's ridiculously common. When wives won't or can't have sex, they will go and cheat because they think that they deserve that and it's unfair, you know? So unfortunately, that makes you lucky to have someone who is so disgusted by that. And you should really really understand that that is a good thing. Because it means, one, your husband has absolutely no intention of ever cheating on you ever. And he absolutely really respects your bodily autonomy and would care about you and look after you if you were ever in a situation that impacted you like that. You shouldn't be letting him go. I'm sorry. And I agree that if your wife is fighting you on this, walk away. You deserve better, man. You do. And I know that that's bare minimum. It's bare minimum, but unfortunately, as you can tell by his son and his actions, it is far too common. I realize that saying that shows that the bar is ridiculously low, but you know. Am I the asshole for calling my daughter's father spineless and his girlfriend creepy over their name choice for their daughter? Intriguing. A little bit of context for you all. I ended up falling pregnant with my 10-year-old daughter during a drunken hookup with a friend in my mid-20s. Not the most glamorous or flattering truth, but it is the truth all the same. When we found out, we decided to keep the child and co-parent while remaining friends. We were never a couple and we didn't want to be one either. 4 years ago, he began to date his longtime girlfriend and they moved in together last year. She fell pregnant and I've been supportive to them both as much as I could be without crossing any lines. I've encouraged my daughter to help out whenever she's staying with them during the pregnancy and to behave. I've also made it clear that I want the children to have a close relationship despite having different mothers. I've even said that if they were comfortable with it, on nights I have my daughter. If they ever want alone time, I'll babysit once they have the baby so my daughter can spend time with her sibling. That's really lovely. This is a really great arrangement. I am in full support of this. All in all, I thought everything was great and I was excited for my daughter to have a sibling as she's always wanted one, but I have no interest in having another child. 3 days ago, my friend and his girlfriend had a daughter. They asked me to bring my daughter to the hospital to meet her little sister yesterday alongside others of the family. So I did exactly that. But when they introduced us to the baby, I was shocked. They'd used my daughter's name. They named their daughter the same name as your daughter. This man now has 2 daughters by the same name. That's horrible. Imagine, that would just make you feel so much like you're being replaced. This kid's 10 too, right? That would break my heart. That's so awful. That's such a terrible thing to do. She didn't seem to have any issue with this when she introduced the baby, bold as brass. My friend seemed uncomfortable and wouldn't look at me directly. I asked them what they were playing at which point my friend's father said he'd take my daughter down to the cafeteria to get her something to eat, and he left with her. My friend told me to calm down and not overreact, while his girlfriend told me he didn't see the issue and it was a pretty name. I asked them if they'd named the baby for my daughter, trying to understand the logic here, but his girlfriend said that no, it was just a pretty name she liked. I then asked if they planned to use a nickname or a middle name when addressing her on a daily basis, and her response was that she didn't see a need for that. You don't see a need for that? You already have a stepdaughter by that name who spends time with you and has for 4 years. This man already has a daughter by that name whom he is supposed to love and care for. And you came in and named your baby after that because what? You're jealous of the love your partner's existing daughter gets from him? Do you hate that child so much? Because I'm sure she loves you. I'm sure she sees you as someone that she trusts and she cares about you and she thought you cared about her too. And now you're here effectively being like, I actually don't like how much your father loves you and I want him to love our child more than you. That's so gross. That's so gross. And you've just ruined that relationship with that daughter. That father has ruined the relationship with his daughter. You've ruined that relationship. And the sibling bond is now also very largely jeopardized if it will exist at all. I told them they were being ridiculous and that they couldn't do this. I then told his girlfriend that I found this frankly creepy and told my friend he was being spineless as he was happy to go along with this. He tried to claim our daughter could use a nickname or something, but I would shut that down immediately, asking why it was more reasonable for a girl who had used that name for a decade to shame her name compared to a baby who had no concept of what a name was yet. You asked the 10-year-old to use a different name as opposed to just not giving your baby the same name as your 10-year-old daughter that's already existing and using that name and has been for 10 years. If you're going to name your daughter that, then yeah, make her use a nickname. Why should I have to use a nickname for our newborn baby? Can't you just give the 10-year-old a new name? Fuck you, man. His girlfriend told me I was being a bitch talking to her like that after she just gave birth and asked the nurses to remove me, saying I was being disruptive. Bro, be for real. Yeah, okay, maybe you don't want to deal with this conversation after just giving birth, but maybe you shouldn't have named your daughter that. Maybe that's your fault and you're asking for it. I'm sorry. I quite frankly do not give a fuck. Maybe my temper is running a little too hot though, and I was too harsh on her when she just gave birth, but it's just so fucking weird. No, you were right for that. I agree with you. You were in the right. You are not the asshole. Edit. I'd like to state, I know that they want to name their child as their choice. They could have called her Dinosaur for all I care, but this is one name that should be off limits or adjusted. They even have the same surname as they have the same father. Something about it just felt malicious and deliberate, as if she's trying to replace my daughter and then both to spring it on us like that at the first meeting. No, that was weird. Were there people in the comments being like, it's just a name, let her name? No, you were absolutely in the right. You're absolutely not the asshole. This would have broken your daughter's heart. I am sure of it. Like, they didn't think of your kid. They specifically thought of how you would react to it and not the fact that that kid is going to feel replaced. They're 10. They understand that, you know, it's difficult when their dad has like a new family with his current partner, you know, like you can and will feel like you're being replaced by that child, especially when they give them the same name. If I was that kid, personally, I would probably never want to speak to my dad ever again. That would destroy me. That would break my heart. Like, he's fucked that relationship, you know? And is it worth it? Is it worth it? Because I don't think it's worth it. And you're absolutely not the asshole. The father, absolutely the asshole. The mother of the new baby, also absolutely the asshole. You are not the asshole. Honestly, you could have been more harsh. Am I the asshole for how I, 37 male, reacted to my son, 17 male, coming out to me? Let's get into this one. It's been pointing out my title wording makes this post seem worse than it is, and I apologize for that. It wasn't my intention. Okay, so let's see what we have. So I've always known that my son had an interest in men. He was slow on the pickup of incognito mode, and from the searches he made, I figured he was at least bi-curious, if that's the proper term for it, since he hit puberty. That's so funny. Oh God. Well, last year he started bringing a boy around and it was obvious they were dating, to the point I figured that he knew I knew and it wasn't a big deal to anyone. That reminds me of my first girlfriend, my only girlfriend, I guess, when she started coming over a lot and we were like cuddling on the couch and just being pretty much openly a couple, despite us not having that conversation yet or putting a label on it. My mom very much assumed that. My sister very much assumed that. And then one day when I was like, oh, I like this girl, she was like, yeah, obviously, I know. Now I'm going to sleep. Like, that's kind of how I came out. If you can call it that, just me being like, Mom, I like this girl. And she's like, yeah, I fucking figured. Anyway, well, apparently I was wrong. After school yesterday, he and his boyfriend came up to me and said there was something really important they needed to tell me. My son said they were dating and had been for a year. Well, I was surprised that he wasn't aware that I knew and was a bit thrown off. My mouth moved faster than my brain and I said, well, that's pretty fucking gay. No. Oh no. See, that's so funny, but in the moment for that kid would be so hard and horrible to hear. Because, like, you know, you've had to build up a lot of courage to share that. You only have one opportunity to come out, you know. He's been, like, hiding this relationship for a year and had finally built up the courage to say it. And the response was, like, a dad joke, effectively. So I absolutely understand the initial pain and shock that must have gone through this boy and how that must have thrown him off and like been so upsetting. But I also know that in time, like even probably in a few months, but definitely in a few years, he will look back at that and laugh his ass off at that, because arguably that's fucking hilarious. Just not in the moment. Anyway, now I thought it was peak comedy since it is in fact gay. Dad joke, very much so. However, I understand using the word gay in that way gives it a very negative undertone, hence the mouth faster than brain comment. Now, my son and I are usually pretty edgy with our humor, this being fairly tame for the stuff we joke about. While probably not appropriate for the situation, it wasn't our norm for a conversation between us. However, he and his boyfriend were very, very upset and left. I'm probably the asshole, but I thought I would check and see if y'all had some advice on what I can say to fix it. He currently won't respond to my texts or calls. Yeah, again, it makes sense that him and his boyfriend were upset. You know, they had probably talked about this for a long time, contemplating when to tell you and finally building up the courage for it, and then was met with a joke that can, to some come off as like mildly derogatory. So I understand the initial reaction, definitely shocking and upsetting, but again, in time, he'll find it very funny. A little update on this. I did not expect this to gain so much traction. It's a bit intimidating, lol. I'm reading the comments though. Anyways, here's a small update. He's at his grandparents' house, which I knew. He told them to tell me he'll be home tomorrow after school to talk. I'll update you after the conversation. That hasn't been updated yet, as far as I'm aware. It'll be fine. Obviously you're a supportive father, like supportive dad who hasn't minded about it at all. Assumed that he knew, which again, you don't really want to hear. But it will be fine. He will be fine. You will laugh about it one day. All of the comments had the same reaction as me of just kind of laughing, and being like, yeah, bro, you're the asshole in this situation because it wasn't the appropriate timing. However, I promise you that one day he will laugh about it. A lot of people who are outwardly queer and have been for a long time were like, I fucking laughed so hard at this. I'm cackling. This is so funny. However, in the moment, understandably, very upsetting. Definitely not the right title though, because yeah, some people can react very poorly to this conversation from happening. So I expected this to be much worse than it was. Now we move on to ones that I have stolen from Ask Aubrey on Twitter, because she does all the digging so I don't have to. Am I the asshole for telling my roommate that her pregnancy is not my problem? The girl I live with, Kay, is pregnant and is due early next year. Of course, she seems excited to have a baby, but at the same time, she's been making her pregnancy my problem. I get that pregnancy is going to affect her physically in many ways, but Kay has been a pain in the ass to deal with. I had to throw out all bananas because she was complaining about how strong the smell was. She isn't helping with cooking or cleaning as much as she used to. Kay cries about almost everything, and it's annoying as hell. I mean, valid. That's just a part of being pregnant. You deal with it. I'm sorry it's annoying, but like, that's just how being pregnant goes. Her pregnancy is making her vomit, which I expected, but sometimes the vomiting is so intense, and once she pretty much projectile vomited on the floor because she couldn't make it to the bathroom, for which I had to clean up her vomit. I'm sorry, that sucks, but I promise it sucks for her more. Over the past few months, she has been asking me to get a few things for her from the store, even on good days when she isn't feeling sick. When I asked her why she couldn't get up and go to the store herself, she said, I'm not the pregnant one. So this is where I may be the asshole. Kay has been asking me to drive her to appointments, which I did once, but then it became a constant thing of asking me, and I kept refusing. This is what happened the other day. She asked me to take her to the clinic. I said no, I was busy that day. She kept pleading with me, and finally I had enough and snapped. I told her that she is the only one responsible for her pregnancy and to not make it my problem, so that she needs to stop making it by asking me to constantly do favors for her. She started crying, and I left because I couldn't take it anymore. I know I may have been harsh to a pregnant lady, but I don't feel like I need to be her personal servant. Am I the asshole? These things, I understand, are not super reasonable to ask of a roommate, if that roommate is someone that you don't know very well, right? Like, some people live with like just housemates who, they just moved into a house where other people already live, or it's like, like a uni dorm sort of situation, in which case I understand that that's inconvenient. It's not your responsibility, and I would be like on your side for the most part. However, this is her husband. Her husband wrote this post. It is this man's baby. And because of how annoying he finds her, he is calling her his roommate because she's not acting very wifely. She's being annoying and not being a wife. So she's been downgraded to just person I live with. That is absolutely astounding to me. You've downgraded your wife to roommate because she's pregnant and wants help with her pregnancy from the person that got her pregnant? What are you gonna do when the baby is born? You're gonna be like, it's not my responsibility. You carried that child. He's your kid, not mine. Roommate? Like, are you gonna call your kid your roommate when they're inconveniencing you? Like, you should not be a dad. You should not be a husband. I hope your wife leaves you. And I know that that's difficult when someone is pregnant or has a newborn baby. Like, it is not within reason for a lot of people, and that fucking sucks. But holy shit, I have seen few of these posts where I hate someone as much as I hate this person. Comments on this from him are, we planned the pregnancy, but I didn't know that she would turn into a lazy, entitled, annoying, emotional child. I'm not the one who is staying at home whining and not taking care of themselves. Again, her pregnancy is her responsibility. I'm waiting for the baby to come so that we could be done with this. She is my roommate. I mean, that's what she's acting like instead of a wife. I agree. I've been setting boundaries from the start and she won't budge. I don't know why she doesn't ask other people, or better yet, why doesn't she do it herself? I'm not her cook, her chauffeur, or her nurse. Okay, so this implies that she was cooking everything before, because you're like, I'm not her cook, but she was your cook. This is your child too. I'm waiting for the baby to come along so we can be done with this. You're not done with this. For 18 plus years, you are not done with this. This is just the beginning of a whole new chapter. You don't want your wife to be an emotional child? What are you going to do when you have an actual child? You know, your wife is being very reasonable, asking you to do the role of a husband and a father. And you're like, no, it's actually really annoying. She's being pregnant and I don't like it. Bro, grow the fuck up. Holy shit. This man is the worst. The absolute worst. He doesn't deserve a wife or a child or anything. He deserves to be alone forever. And I hope that he is. I hope that she finds someone better, or that she raises the child on her own, honestly, is better than having this man in this house and around her. My God. Holy shit. I'm so sorry to that woman and to that child. Am I the asshole for trying to help my girlfriend without hurting her feelings? I, 32 male, have been in a relationship with my girlfriend, 24 female, for almost 3 years now. So 21 and 29. A bit of a gap, but like, okay. When we first got together, she was pretty overweight and struggling with her self-esteem, depression, and anxiety. Over time, she started to work on herself both physically and mentally. I've been incredibly proud of her progress and how far she's come. Lately, though, I noticed that she's been putting on some weight again, and it's been affecting her mental health. She's mentioned feeling down about her body image, and her struggles with anxiety and depression have resurfaced. I genuinely care for her, and I don't want to see her suffer like this. I thought about talking it out, but I knew it would devolve into asking if I'm still attracted to her, and truthfully, I have lost some attraction over the last month or so, though she does still look amazing for the most part. I thought it would be better to take a more subtle approach, so I've started adding small amounts of sawdust to her food. The idea being it would help her feel fuller faster and encourage her to eat less without knowing. I was trying to prevent her from falling back into her previous state of depression and anxiety. Unfortunately, my brother, 30, caught me in the act and was shocked and angry. Very fair. He told me I was being manipulative and abusive, which, okay, a little shady maybe, but abusive is a serious stretch. I don't know, man. I don't know. I feel like poisoning your fucking girlfriend is a little bit abusive, maybe. Now my brother is giving me an ultimatum. He wants me to tell my girlfriend what I've been doing by the end of the week, or he'll tell her himself. He believes she deserves to know the truth. Yes, absolutely she does. And if you don't think what you're doing is wrong, then why can't you tell her? I think what I've been doing is enough to help her without causing her unnecessary pain by revealing what I've done. She's already lost a few pounds. I told him I would stop, and I believe that should be sufficient. I don't see the point of telling her and potentially destroying the progress she's made. My brother thinks that I'm completely in the wrong and that my girlfriend deserves the truth, but I genuinely believe I was doing what I thought was best for her, and I don't see it as a malicious act. Am I really the jerk for trying to help my girlfriend in this way, or is my brother overreacting? Should I tell my girlfriend what I've been doing, or keep it to myself to spare her feelings? I need honest opinions here. Please keep in mind that telling her up front that she's put on weight could seriously set back her mental health. Have you ever considered that maybe her depression and anxiety is what's causing her to gain weight and not the other way around? Have you ever considered that maybe she is eating more and taking less good care of herself because she is in a bad state of mind? Because you're like, I genuinely do care about her, but then you're being like, she's putting on weight and that's making her depressed. And I have a problem with that part. I'm not going to talk to her about how she's feeling and how she's struggling. What I'm going to do is make her look more attractive to me, and that'll surely help the problem. Bro, absolutely the fuck not. What you're doing is abusive. It is not okay at all. And you do have to tell her, and she absolutely should leave your ass because holy shit, bro. This isn't about you. If your girlfriend is depressed and struggling, you should be there to listen to her, to talk to her, to help her through that, to hold her hand, to offer her support. You thinking that her gaining weight is the root of all her problems is absolutely not even a little bit true. That is a symptom of her struggling with other things, most likely. If you notice she's gaining weight and being depressed at the same time, the depression is definitely what's causing the issue, not the other way around. And the thing with it is that a lot of the time we find a physical thing to blame. So it's like you feel depressed, so you gain weight, and then it's easier to blame the fact you've gained weight to be the reason you're depressed than it is to look at the core issue. It's easier to blame a physical thing rather than thinking about it and internalizing it and getting to the bottom of it, which is why it's so important to talk about and figure out the bottom of it and like battle that head on. Because I promise you, gaining weight isn't the actual fucking issue. You just think it is because it's a problem to you. You are absolutely the asshole. You should fucking go to jail. Honestly, like, you're like, it's not toxic. I'm like, I don't think you're meant to eat sawdust, though. I don't think you're fucking meant to eat sawdust. That's so fucked up. Holy shit. I hope that you get broken up with and you never get into a relationship ever again. Fuck me. Oh my God. Anyway, I've been here for a while and I am dying of heat. I've had to like close all the windows. I can't have a fan on or anything because it's too loud and I'm melting. It's so hot here today. So I'm going to end this video and go sit in a cooler room or have a cold shower maybe. I hope that you've enjoyed. Don't forget to leave a like and comment and subscribe and all of that. Go to my second channel too, Kiwi with a Q, because I'm doing more fun stuff over there. A massive thank you to my Sprout and Above patrons whose names are up on the screen right now. I appreciate you greatly. And a huge thank you to my Kiwi Cat patrons. Harry, Toulouse, Bobby, Sparrow, Josh, Mandy, Robbie, Ikazel, Jessica, Eldo, Trini, Raven, Danielle, Enoli Like Cannoli, Elias, Jewel, Apollo, Taylor is Trying, Boston, and Chris. I love and appreciate you so much. Thank you so much for joining. If you would like to become a patron, you go to patreon.com/savvycat or click the top link in the description. For as little as £1 a month, you get my videos a day early, as well as podcasts a week early. And then for £3 and up, you get things such as bonus mini podcasts, outtakes, live streams, vlogs, and more. I appreciate it greatly, so thank you. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram, The Queer Kiwi, and Twitter, That Queer Kiwi. I hope that you enjoy the rest of your day. Stay safe. Keep fighting. I love you. Mwah.